Welcome back to this course on the World Domination Custom Cabinetry app. Today we'll be looking at the Projects page. If this app were a wheel, this page is the hub. Almost everything else links to this page and can be done from here. You will link your companies, your contacts, your rooms. Almost everything you do will be done from here. The primary view is a table or grid view, just meaning that it looks a lot like a spreadsheet, showing each of the projects in a row. You can enter some data here, but it makes more sense to click the Open button for a project to start working on it, so you are seeing only that project and you have access to all the data. But before we open a project, let's look at views. So here's that Open button here, and then across the top of this page we see our views. So this first view, active, all, and we can kind of ignore this last couple words, table view, because it's just repeated over and over again, basically saying these views are this type of view, this table view. So this active all means that all jobs that have not been archived, that we have not checked this box here, the box is unchecked, and that we have chosen either pending or won in the win-loss column. So those two things are determining what's showing on this page. That these two jobs, one of them is pending and one of them is won, so both of those are not filtered out, and that the jobs are not complete or we lost them. This second view, this active won table, you see only has one project because we've won this one. And what we mean by won is we have a signed contract and a deposit check. Now you may have some other definition of what won a job means, but we know we have this job and we can start acquiring materials. So we want to be able to see just those jobs at times. And then we have this active pending. And so we only have one here, and I can show you another view that has more jobs in it for this to make sense. But these jobs, we have started the process. We've either done a ballpark estimate or a formal estimate, or we're working field measuring, whatever. This job is pending. We're working towards winning this job, but we have not got a signed contract and we do not have a deposit check yet. And again, your definition can vary. And then this archived table view is all the jobs that we have either completed, we won them and we completed them, or there could also be jobs in here, I've kind of deleted all of them out, but there could also be jobs in here that we lost, that we did not win it. We gave them a ballpark estimate, they agreed to move forward, that said it was within their means, and then we gave them a formal estimate and they said, no, we're not going to move forward for one reason or another. But it could also be projects where the client was disqualified, where you just didn't feel like they were a good fit for your company. And then the all table view is just showing all of the projects that you have in here, and obviously I've deleted most everything out of this copy just so we're not having to look through a bunch of information. So you see in this one we see that we have a pending job, a one job, and a one job. If we go to an actual version of somebody's live copy of this, we can see here in this active that we've got lots of jobs in here, but all of these jobs here are going to have either won or pending in this column, and this checkbox will not be checked. If I were to check this box, this job would move into this view and would move out of this. We wouldn't see it in this view anymore, and we would now see it in the archived view and the all table view. And then on the one table view, the only thing we should see here are jobs that in the win-loss column have one chosen. And then in the active pending, all we should see are jobs or projects that have the pending one loss option chosen. And then the archived are every job that he has had some part to play in, and that he either has completed that job or let's see what we see down here in the win-loss category. We do have some other options. So we see those were all the one. We've grouped these. And then these are all the jobs that were lost. We went far enough to have provided a formal estimate, and then they chose to say we're not going to purchase cabinets from you. If we just give them a ballpark estimate, then we kind of disqualify them because we don't want them to be part of our win-loss ratio. And so you see some unqualified. These people could have never afforded, or actually this is a made-up job, but this is a job that they said we can't afford your cabinetry just from the ballpark estimate. So that's how those views work, and you can create as many of these as you want. One quick recommendation I'll make is if you want a new view, don't come over here and say add a view and start with a blank screen and have to start from scratch and have every field that's available and not in any particular order. Pick a view that's similar to what you want and then click on that view, and you have the option to duplicate that view. Then once you've duplicated it, you can rename it and change your sorts or your filters or whatever you want to change about it and give it a name that's appropriate for that. But you can have as many of these views as you want. So that's all the information we have about views. So now let's talk about the fields we see on this screen. There's more fields than this, but on this screen, let's talk about these fields. We do want to have a project name, and the project name does need to be descriptive. We do want to be able to tell one project from another, so lot numbers or addresses, but obviously names are part of that. So in this case, maybe it's the homeowner's name and the room we're working on. If there was only one room, in this case, obviously there's more rooms. We can see those rooms here, so we're not going to use the room as part of that name. And in this case, we've used a lot number. And this 17B is probably something similar to a lot number. Then we have the project status. Project status, if we open this up, we can see that there's quite a few options here. But this is the status of the building that we're going to be installing cabinetry in. And we kind of color-coded it here saying, you know, we can't put cabinets in if the status is red. That should just be a visual indicator that we can't put cabinets in yet. And then you might have a different color coding system than I would have maybe, or another cabinet maker would have. Maybe you would never put them in just as soon as the sheetrock was finished, that the floors had to be either in or even finished floors. And so you could make everything red all the way down to here if you said, I'm not going to put them in until the floors are finished and everything's painted and all of those things. These are just type text, and then you can position them here in the order you want them in by grabbing the 6 dots, turns into a hand, and you can slide them. And you can see this one can, you know, move wherever we want it to move. You can add additional project statuses here and color code them yourselves to color code one, or edit the word itself. You can just click on the 3 dots, and at that point it's waiting for you to type what it is you want the name to be, or you can click and add to the name, or you can replace the name and you can choose a different color. But the project status is all about the building you're going to put cabinets in, what's the status there, and this is something we try to get our customers to tell us on a weekly basis. Give us a project status update. And the creation date is not a true creation date field. This is a date field that you can enter so that if you're kind of recreating your past year because you feel like that would be a value. If you want to change this creation date, you can click on this field here and edit the property, and there's an option there to change it to a true creation date. A true creation date says when you create this file, that's the date. You can never change it again. It'll always be that. And so there is some value to that, but currently you can set this date to anything you want. Link to rooms is just that. It's another database, and we're going to link to it. We're going to talk more about it in not the next video, but the one after that. Then room status. This is your production sequence of events. When we look at this room status, we can only see this room status from the rooms. Right now we're looking at a lookup field. When you see this little magnifying glass, that means we're looking into another database. So we're seeing what the status of these rooms are in our production sequence of events. That this particular room, the kitchen, and if we close this up just a little bit, it put them actually in the order. Depends on how many you got. Sometimes you'd have to adjust it. So this finished status is related to this room, the kitchen, and the assembly status is these rooms. Hardware is this room. You can set the status for each room, and you do that at the room level, which if we jumped into the room, we could do that from here. And then we have a category. This is totally up to you whether you can use it. You can hide any field you feel like you'll never use by just clicking on that property heading and say hide in view, and it will not be there from then on. But if you feel like it's valuable to kind of track how many of your jobs are residential new construction versus residential remodel versus commercial, when you open this, you see we've also got commercial new construction and commercial remodel. If you want to track that, or you want to track other things, add new things to this, and then just choose the appropriate category. And then for the companies, this is the companies we talked about in the previous course. These are the companies and these are the contacts, and they are linked, and you can link them from here. You don't have to create them from this company's database or from this contacts database. If this is empty, when you click in it, you have the opportunity to come in here and choose someone that's already here, or start typing to add a new company. Now this particular project being a residential remodel, and maybe the owner is handling it themselves, there is no company involved, just the homeowner. But in this case, and we could have multiple contacts here. We could have like the superintendent, the owner of the company, and any of the other people. You know, you can add as many people as you want. When you click there, you see all of the options you have. I only have 3 contacts in here, but if I wanted to add another one of these contacts, I would just click this plus button to the right. Now this is new and different from just a few weeks ago. This plus on the right is different. It used to be on the left, and it used to be kind of green-red thing, but they changed it within the last day or two, so that's a new way of that working, but that's how you would add additional contacts. This is that win-loss category we talked about earlier. We've got won, pending, lost, and unqualified, And again, you can add other things that you can filter or sort by, but these make sense to us that we either won the job or we're trying to win the job, it's pending, or we lost the job, or they never could have afforded our job. And again, we want to keep those people that could never have afforded our cabinets or could not wait how long it would take for us to manufacture the cabinets. That's not part of our win-loss ratio. That is just somebody that was unqualified. All of these fields from here over, if we slide to the right, are all about money. And this is just a piece of this that makes this an excellent companion for Custom Cabinet Estimator. This does some math for you that Custom Cabinet Estimator doesn't. It will take your delivery cost and basically divvy it up between all the different rooms. So we're going to put in the delivery cost that Custom Cabinet Estimator tells us for the project, and then it's going to take that number, in this case $688, and divide it up into each of the rooms, and we'll see that when we're working in the rooms. But all of this is optional. Again, don't feel like you have to use everything that's in here. Anybody that wants to just use this for just simply project management and nothing else, or production management and nothing else, or delivery management, feel free to do that. You can use as little or much of this as you want, and you don't have to enter any of this, and you could come in here and hide all these fields if you're never going to use this. To this far right piece of it, we're actually linking this to another piece of this that we'll cover in a later course, and that is the Pour No More app, as it's referred to now. It's really the Profit First system, and we'll talk at great extent about that. So now that we've covered the fields or properties, that's what each of these are called, fields or properties, let's talk briefly about this template. So the template is this blue button, and you have the option for new. So if I clicked on the button, it would just bring up a new template based off the top one in the list. But I have two templates in here, so it makes more sense to click on the down caret and pick the one I want. So there's three options here. I can click on the new button and it will give me one of these. I can click on the down caret button and it will allow me to choose one of these, or just an empty page. I could even create a new template from here. And if I need to edit my template, I float over these three, and you can see that it's telling me if I click on that I can edit the template. You see now that my options, once I click on those three dots, are edit, duplicate, and delete. We're not going to cover that in this course. We would cover that in another course specific to Notion rather than one specific to projects. But if you wanted to edit it, you would click on edit, and when we open the job, you'll see what the template produces. So that covers everything I wanted to touch on in this first of several tutorials on projects. Up next, we will use the open button to open one of these projects and work through that interface and see how all of that works. Thanks for watching.